They came on silver wings, larger than any ship ever seen in this corner of the galaxy. The predator race known as the Varkal descended upon the peaceful colony moon of Arison Prime like a storm. Their ships, covered in jagged armor and painted in the colors of war, cast long shadows over the forests and farms below. The humans, a small group of settlers among many other species, did not flee. They rarely did. Not because they were stronger, faster, or more advanced, but because they were human. Captain Rowe of the Varkal watched the settlement from orbit. No planetary defenses, minimal troop presence, they don't even lock their homes. He growled in disbelief. His second in command, a lean creature with 6 eyes and sharper instincts, flicked his tail. They're weak. They live among prey races. This will be over before the sun set. Rowe nodded. Find their young. Seize them. Prey bends faster when its heart is taken. The Varkal deployed in waves. They expected panic. They expected screams. They got neither. When the soldiers burst into the settlement's central schoolhouse, they found a single human adult standing at the front. A man, simple in appearance, with dirt on his sleeves and calluses on his hands. The children behind him were not only human, they were young from 6 species, from wide-eyed Avri to scaled Latari. You shouldn't be here, the man said, calm as still water. The lead Varkal bared its teeth. Step aside, human, you cannot stop us. The man didn't move. No. But I can promise you something you'll wish you'd known. The Varkal rushed forward. And that's when the sky answered. The first thing the Varkal learned was that human children don't run when someone else is in danger. A Latari cub, barely older than 5, threw a chair at one of the invaders. Another child pulled an alarm cord. It wasn't fear in their eyes. It was fury. The second thing they learned was that humans teach others what they know. Within minutes, every non-human child in the room followed suit, not out of instinct, but because their human friends had taught them what it meant to stand. Then the third lesson came, loud and clear. The outer wall exploded inward, and a figure in armored gear stormed in. A woman this time holding a shield in one hand and a non-lethal shock baton in the other. Behind her came others, not soldiers but farmers, engineers, medics, each with gear adapted for defense. They didn't shout, they didn't posture. They moved like they had practiced this because they had. Get the kids out, the armored woman ordered. No one touches them. More Varkal entered from the sides, but they were not prepared for resistance. They weren't prepared for humans. Captain. Rowe received the first casualty report and frowned. A single outpost is delaying our sweep. They're not delaying, sir, came the reply. They're turning it back. He sent reinforcements. By nightfall, the Varkal held none of the settlement. Worse, their advance teams had been captured, not killed, captured, medically treated, and returned with a warning. Next time, we won't be so polite. But it was what came next that turned this from a failed raid into a galactic lesson. A meeting was called. Broadcasts sent to neutral zones. The humans invited the Varkal elders, not as prisoners but as guests, to witness something. Curious, wary, and driven by pride, the elders arrived. The humans welcomed them with warm food, safe passage, and translators. They were led to a wide park at the edge of the settlement. A crowd had gathered. Children ran about, playing, laughing, chasing each other. Varkal younglings were among them, the same species that had attacked them days ago. Yet the human children didn't shove them aside. They shared toys. They protected the clumsy Varkal cubs when they stumbled. One human child even stood between a larger reptilian playmate and a frightened Varkal cub, saying, "Hey, they're still learning. Give them space." The elders watched in stunned silence. An elder turned to the human beside him. "Why?" The man folded his arms. "Because they're children, and that means they're safe with us." "But we attacked you, took your people." "We got them back," the man said simply. "But the cubs? They didn't choose to be born to war. We won't teach them to be enemies." The Varkal elder lowered his head. For the first time in his long life, he didn't know what to say. The final moment that sealed the story in galactic memory came when a human child, no older than 10, offered her hand to a Varkal cub and said, "Come on, you're part of the game now." The cub hesitated, looked back at the elder, who nodded, and they ran off together, laughing. Centuries later, scholars would point to that day as the moment the Varkal began to change. Not from force, not from fear, but because they had learned. What made humans terrifying was not their strength or technology, but their refusal to surrender even an inch of their values. They did not protect their young by building walls. They did it by making the world safer for everyone's young, and, when even the fiercest predators saw that, they understood why even their cubs were safe with humans.